Have you ever just wondered why some people seem to click with everyone they meet? Well, in this explainer, we're unlocking the secrets from a book that literally cracked the code on human interaction almost a century ago, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was written way back in 1937, but somehow its ideas feel more relevant now than ever before.
And I mean, its influence is just staggering. This book, the source for our explainer today, has become a global phenomenon. And that kind of success isn't an accident. It's because it tackles a massive, often overlooked problem that affects pretty much every single aspect of our lives. Carnegie's entire philosophy really kicks off right here with something he called the 85% problem. And it's all about a skill that is so critical to our success that it's actually shocking we're never really taught how to master it. So think about what really drives success. Is it technical skill, expertise? Well, according to research from the Carnegie Institute, you'd be wrong. Get this, it found that even in super technical fields like engineering, a staggering 85% of your financial success isn't about what you know. It's about your human engineering skills, your ability to connect with and lead other people. And look, this isn't some fluffy, soft skill theory. One of the sharpest businessmen in history, John D. Rockefeller, saw it as a cold, hard asset. He literally said that the ability to deal with people was the single most valuable commodity on earth, and he was willing to pay more for it than for anything else. Anything. Okay, so if people skills are that crucial, where do we constantly mess up? Well, Carnegie argues it's our most basic instinct. When something goes wrong, what's our first impulse? To criticize. And according to him, that is almost always the worst thing you can possibly do. And to understand why, let me ask you a question. Think about some of the most infamous criminals in history. How do you think they saw themselves? As evil? As just plain wrong? The reality is, well, it's stunning. While he was literally surrounded by police in a shootout, the notorious killer Two Gun Crowley wrote this. He saw himself as a kind, weary victim. I mean, think about that. Even Al Capone, a ruthless mob boss, saw himself as a public servant. They were the heroes of their own stories. And here is the really powerful takeaway. If a hardened criminal can't see their own faults, what chance do you have of getting a colleague or a family member to see theirs by criticizing them over some minor issue? Carnegie's conclusion was that criticism is useless. It just doesn't work. It doesn't solve problems, it just wounds pride, builds up resentment, and forces people to dig in and defend their actions. So, if we're supposed to avoid criticism, what are we supposed to do instead? Well, this brings us to Carnegie's 3 fundamental techniques. These are the core actionable principles for actually influencing people. Okay, so here they are in a nutshell. First, and we've talked about this one, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Second, give honest and sincere appreciation. And third, and this one's key, arouse in the other person an eager want. So let's break down exactly what each of these really means. Let's start with that first one, don't criticize. Even one of history's greatest leaders, Abraham Lincoln, had to learn this lesson the hard way. So after the huge victory at Gettysburg, General Lee's army was trapped. Lincoln saw this golden opportunity to end the Civil War right there and then. He ordered his general, George Meade, to attack. But Meade hesitated. He held a council of war against orders, and Lee's army slipped away. Lincoln was absolutely furious. So he sat down and he wrote this scathing letter to Meade, just venting all his frustration. But then he paused. And here's the thing. He never sent it. Lincoln understood that lashing out would solve nothing. It would only breed resentment and make things worse. He learned a profound lesson. Even when you are totally in the right, harsh criticism is a losing game. So if criticism is the poison, what's the antidote? Well, that brings us to the second principle. And it's a powerful tool for inspiring people to get better, instead of just shutting them down. Charles Schwab, who was the first president of U.S. Steel, earned over $1 million a year back in the early 1900s. And that was largely for his ability to manage people. And this was his secret. He believed the greatest asset he had was his ability to create enthusiasm, and he did that through appreciation and encouragement. Now, it's really easy to hear the word appreciation and just think of cheap flattery. But Carnegie draws a very hard line between the two. Flattery is insincere. It's selfish. He says it comes from the teeth. But real appreciation, that's the exact opposite.
It's genuine, it's selfless, and it comes straight from the heart.
Okay, and this leads us to the third and maybe the most powerful principle of all. Carnegie believed this was the single biggest secret to getting anyone to do anything, not because they have to, but because they actually want to.
And this little story illustrates the concept perfectly. You might absolutely love strawberries and cream, but you're not going to use it for bait when you go fishing. Why? It's obvious, right? Because you think about what the fish wants, a worm. It's just simple common sense, but we forget this all the time when we're dealing with people.
So here is the bottom line. The world is full of people just talking about what they want. To actually have any influence, you have to do the opposite. You have to see the world from their perspective, talk about their wants, and then show them how to get it. That is how you create real, genuine motivation.
So don't criticize, give sincere appreciation, and focus on what other people want. When you combine these three principles, they reveal one core idea: the true secret to success with people.
Henry Ford captured the entire philosophy in one single sentence. This is the golden rule that connects every single principle we've talked about. It's a radical shift away from thinking about me and towards thinking about you. So the final thought I want to leave you with is this. In your next conversation, your next meeting, your next argument, can you stop defending your own point of view just long enough to truly, genuinely understand theirs?